Cool. We go. Right. Well, welcome, guys. We've had a lovely discussion. It's fantastic to see so many of you again. And of course, to welcome those of you who are doing a very first online draft as well. This is just a 10-minute preamble from me before we open it up to any Q&A or anything like that, and then we'll get into the main meat of it. But because for me, this is a really special event tonight, a first chance for us to get together like this in this sort of new venture that we've all put together, that so many people are involved with the testing with, and suggestions and help and all the bug fixing. I just wanted to sort of have a little bit of time together in this very first live draft that we're doing. So rough, very, very rough structure. You can tell I'm used to lesson planning and structuring things out. So yeah, brief preamble from myself, open to you guys for anything you want to bring up, then probably about 1:30ish or whenever that is, the draft. And of course, there's no standing on ceremony. When you're done with your picks and you disconnect, you disconnect. There's no need to do anything about it. There's no sort of hidden magical thing at the very end of this. But yeah, we will enjoy our time. I did just want to have a reflect on where we've actually come from here. And I've had a dig through the old source codes and everything like that. And just show you on the left there, a couple of people saw this a long time ago, but it is that's the very first iteration of the code. It was an offline Python simulator, which took about a minute and a half per game. And I thought, blimey, that's good, compared to some processing times that we may have seen. I thought, yeah, that's a solid bit of processing time. But that was, of course, just basic play selections. You can see we've got the play codes and elements and things like that in there. And surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, of course, Lincoln losing to that completely fictional team that I'd put in there, the Gotham somethings. Gotham Guardians is what I've done. So that was step one. Then, as you can see down in the bottom corner, the trying to get that into a web script was vastly less than successful. That was, it didn't work fabulously well to begin with, but we built from it. That was August, almost a full year ago, which is terrifying, isn't it? And then October, words started to spread word a little bit. We started to get it out a little bit there. Lee was one of the initial testers over on the very first part of it when we were temporarily hosted. And I just thought, yeah, the cranberry sauce was probably one of the more interesting names that I've ever seen. The Nottingham Funkadactyls was quite good as well. First bit of the helmet customization logo, you can see there as well, a helmet within a helmet, just to try and get things working. Carried on continuing to break things. The server kept falling over because I could just get it catastrophically looped. But yeah, we progressed forwards, we moved on. November is when it sort of really became public knowledge. We threw things out there. Everyone was trying to break things. We started to organize the roster pages. We started to name staff silly things. The name Budgie Little Helicopter will always make me laugh because I am mentally five. And I just thought I'd share these elements here because we've had so many milestones. December, we said, right, actually, we've got a product here. We've got something here we can use. Let's use this. Let's actually go ahead with this. We secured it. We then did that accelerated test season in January, which Lee won with Mike Knight, close runner-up, which we'll chat about briefly there. And then, of course, 20th February, season one actually launched, and off we went. And I've taken a little bit of stock of where we are at the moment. We do have 32 fully active coaches. We've got 30 fully customized teams. We've got 2 blank helmets and jerseys at the moment, and I love a bit of customization, but we've got 32 active coaches. We did lose somebody off the game midway through the year. It was a good test of the inactivity policy, but because of that, we're able to get Randy on board. And of course, Randy was my first mentor back at G3 back in season 8. All those years ago. So actually it was really quite poetic and lovely to be able to get Randy on board to immediately try and correct the Saints, who'd been under a little bit of neglect. But again, it let me test some systems that work for getting people in and hopefully getting people caught up. We do have 21 users on the waiting list currently, which is incredible. I'm not looking at spinning up another version or another league, even with 21 people in place, because A, we're still short 11 for a full league, and B, it gives no buffer room for anybody who is who may end up needing to leave the game next season or at the end of next season. So I always want to have that buffer. If we were to get up into the mid 40s, so we're talking double what we currently have. If we were to end up with big that, I might consider it because it's not a big job at all, the running the games each week, as you've seen by the turnaround times. But I want to make sure that there is a healthy bit of lifeblood to it. So everyone's aware, last week I did email out to everybody on the waiting list and just said, good news and bad news. Good news, we've got 32 people happily playing. Bad news, that means there's no spaces right now. I did only have one of the 22 at the time turn around and say, well, fair play, but I'll take myself off the list. So again, I think that bodes well. It just shows we've got patience out there at the moment. And then, yeah, game hosting and costs all funded until season 4. We are going to carry on with a voluntary funding model. We're not going to go, I can't see any reason to go to a subscription-based model at all. But those who are funding and contributing, whether it's some people make one-off payments, some people have made a season payment, some people have done a monthly subscription. If nobody paid any more money in as of now, we're funded until halfway through season 4. So, that's significant for me. So thank you. I was happy to fund it myself, but I'm very grateful for anyone that has, stepped up in that. Equally, absolutely no pressure and absolutely no guilt. If you haven't or unable to, it's not a barrier. It should never be a barrier to being part of this community, and that's my goal moving forwards. Let's look on a couple of significant achievements. Season 1, we finished it. Hooray! It didn't all fall over and die. It didn't all fall over and break and all go wrong. So that was tremendous. The viewer went in. I don't know if anybody uses the viewer. It was a hotly requested thing, considering I never used it in G3. So I sort of put it very much on the back burner, maybe, in a couple of seasons' times. But it works. It's got some improvements I could make to it, certainly, but we have a viewer there and sorted. The simulation engine creates really varied results, but they do lean the right way. And by that, I mean the better team tends to win. We do get our any given Sunday results. We do get our results where a weaker team can get a win. But where there is a stronger team with a good game plan, that team will do well. And for me, that is right. And it stops that random aspect there. And yeah, the great community activity that we have here, we get comments on things. We have people use the likes and the thumbs up systems as well, rather than leaving a comment, which is great. We've seen the great work from Mike all year with all the things they do. The blog posts are fabulous when they come through, whether you are doing it from a role play fashion or whether you're just giving updates, they look really, really great as well. So those for me have all been really huge achievements for us all this year. But it's going to be a constantly driving forward process. I don't think I'm going to be doing statements of intent. I don't think I'm going to be doing long form plans like that. But we will get together like this, and I'll always be happy to talk about potential next steps. But before season 2, during our month and a bit break, once the draft process is completed, we're going to have a break. I'm going to get a catch-up 8 in, which is a new feature. That's going to be something you can enable with 4 minutes or 2 minutes left on the clock to really go all out if you need to catch up. Yes, there's a mechanism in game for that to happen, but I think we could make that more black and white and really thump that one through forwards. Firing staff is going to start following the G3 model of the compensation element, plus be slightly firmer in that they'll likely not sign with you again for a time period as well. So that will stop a bit of yo-yoing. We do need to look at free agent limits. Someone's been enjoying a hiring spree recently, and there is no block on them and no amount on them. So I will be putting that in there. And I do need to nerf the draft a little bit. It's a really good draft this year, but we do need to look at the draft levels and to bring those down. So that's sort of my immediate next month's work with that. And then before season 3, could we improve the free agent system a little bit further and be talking to you guys about what we could do with that? I do want captaincy and I do want leadership in the game. It isn't there presently, but the database is structured and set up for it, so it can go in. Attributes, absolutely, we do want attributes in the game, but I want the vast majority, if not all drafted players, to have at least one attribute. So it's not, we're never going to have a college system, I don't think. So it's not going to be a case of the college guys only have attributes and the others don't. I want that to be something to really make the players a bit more nuanced and to make sure we've got all those elements in place. And very popular, Don will be pleased to see that, modification of QST. If you've got somebody on your P&D, on your dev squad, we will follow that one up where if you put a certain amount of points into players and you get those improvement points, you will be able to change a DE from being 55Q to 60Q or above, depending on where we go with that. Just want to share a couple of facts as well. Chris's fabulous first ever soundbite and the relief I felt with that, but there have been 169 soundbites since, which I think is a solid amount we've got there. You've sent well over 700 private messages. So I ummed and ahed over putting the messaging system in place because it was new for BSF. I'm delighted it's gone in, and that's tremendous. Just so everyone's clear, I cannot see them unless you report them. They're all encrypted. If you report one because there's a problem with it, it unencrypts it and I can see it, but it is very much private. Over 6,000 scouting actions have taken place this year. That doesn't include a couple of people who really enjoyed scouting a few weeks ago. And we needed to put the brakes on that one very slightly. But that's, yes, 6,000 scouting actions. The highest offensive PCV out there is 33 and the highest defensive 30. I'm nowhere near, by the way. Neither of those are mine on there. I've spelt her name wrong. That's very annoying. I spelt Ricky's name wrong. But Arsene in his predictions is more accurate than Ricky. So he was correct 71% of the time compared to her 67. Highest level in the league, we have one level 14 lurking out there. I don't know who it is. I've simply done a count by level. We do have a level 14 out there. Youngstown, when I wrote this a couple of days ago, were leading in trades. I think they may still be there. The Tale of Brad Kruger, the Ballad of Brad Kruger, started on the Headhunters, through the Coven twice, then the Forge, then the Huskies, and is still now a free agent. He is, yeah, the most picked up and dropped player going. Bless him. And then I just want to have a look, a couple of thank yous. Oh, it's cut out at the end, that's annoying. As ever, you know, R&R, without the game, without the rules, Richard Egan, who created this off the back of the work, I believe, of Les Walker in the 80s. For them to turn around and to say, yeah, you can use our rules, you can use our formula, you can use our stuff, is massive, was a massive vote of confidence. And BSF only exists because they turned around and said, you can go and use our intellectual property to go and make this thing. They have been open as well to conversation during the year, just checking in and saying hello. But I will say as well, I'll give credit to Aid, who I think is here. Yes, Adrian is here. Was keen in one of the formations that hadn't made its way over, went along, and Rich Egan provided that formation for him, just went and grabbed the details and sent it over, which didn't have to do. And I think that's tremendous. I will, as I've said earlier as well, thank you funders, everyone who's been involved with that one. The Lords of the Bugs, everyone has been contributing good bugs. And thank you for the tone and spirit in which you do report bugs, because there is a certain way you can go about it, which doesn't make me feel like the stupidest person on the planet. But yeah, Gary, Mark and Mike in particular, you popped up a lot with bugs this year. The attention to detail is spot on, very helpful. Textbot Andy, he isn't in the room, but I'll show him this video afterwards. He's not involved in the game in any way. He's not interested in sport in any way, but he's a very good friend of mine who has supported with all the tech back-end stuff, all the networking elements, and generally when I break things, his patience has been boundless. And equally, yeah, everybody in the league for patience, for support, for confidence, for everything you've been a part of this year. When I break things and you go, never mind, it's been fabulous. And I just wanted to share, in case people hadn't seen it, Chris Weeks there had his own mini helmet made up of his BSF team, which is the first break into real life BSF-ness, which is incredible for me. I do have one element to share. Some people have asked about Project Arc. Very, very pleased to sort of share this with you. If you take the letters A, R, Q and you advance them on ones, you then get, of course, BSR. And if I can get that to work, I can get that to work. Fantastic. We are going to also be branching out slightly further. I love cars. I love car racing. So I can announce, yeah, Big Sky Racing is going to be a thing. It is a purely optional thing. It is completely separate to BSF. It's going to work as an automated system, so I don't actually need to run games for that. That will tick itself over. I've learned so much doing this. Doesn't need to be that, but that is now open and available for a nose around, and it will go through the same development process as BSF, but that is there and available to everybody. But I'm thrilled to announce that, as that's been going on in the background, because I've been bored during the regular season when there's not been things going on, and I don't want to change the game engine. But that is it from me. I will open up to anybody that may have anything that they wish to ask, suggestions, or anything else like that, that anyone would like to bring up. If not, we'll go to draft.
Just one question on the QSTs.
Yes, sir.
We mentioned potentially adding in the kind of quirkier ones, as in
Yes.
technique for and so on, and strength for cornerback, so on. Will we be seeing that for the next draft, do we think?
Yes. So the code's already been rewritten for that. So that is already in place. To be honest, it had slipped my notice, and we were a week or so in before I realized, actually, oh no, it's not generated any of them. But the code has been fixed, the code has been tested. They will be in the next draft. So yeah, the quirkier QSTs will be there. James, go for it.
Used Zoom for a while, so I can't remember how to do everything. I mean, I know we'll all say this, but I just say massive thank you, Phil. You've done an amazing amount of work to make this happen. And it's obviously massively appreciated. That's why we're all here, because we love this game. Obviously, when G3 ended, that was a bit of a, oh my God, what are we going to do now with our lives? Because there's a massive gap now. And yeah, I mean, I know from, the conversations we've had and all the stuff you put in, kind of make it sound like, but obviously this is your thing, and the amount of work you've done on it, and to keep us all going. And I just had a little look, I think we've got 17, 18, 19 people here for this out of 32, and we know another few other people are just because they can't be here because they're busy or whatever. So you've created an amazing thing. So well done for all the hard work. It's a brilliant project. We all love it, and thank you very much.
I appreciate that, James. Thank you very much. I've learned a lot doing it, but I've very much enjoyed doing it. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I'd hoped today for double digits. I thought double digits would be an achievement. So I can currently see 19 people on the call. That genuinely is mind-blowing for me. So yeah, I appreciate all of your time on an evening of a World Cup quarter-final, semi-final, quarters.
Quarter-final.
Quarters. Sorry.
Yeah. You're a big fan, Phil. I can tell.
I just focused in other areas. Okay, no, but thank you, Joe. I do appreciate that, my friend. Thank you.
And can I just jump in and say thank you to those who send me kind messages when my wife passed? I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Paul. It's a community. G3 was special because of the community. And
exactly.
This needs to be the same. So, yeah.
Agreed.
You're very much loved and cared for, Paul. You always have been. So, yeah, we're delighted to have you here, mate. Thank you. Andy, go for it.
Just a quick thing, going back to what you mentioned about the 21 people in the queue. Obviously, it's not very in keeping with American football, but is there a way, obviously, you mentioned not wanting to add too much more to what we've already got. Could you have like a Big Ten, like obviously college football style Big Ten, and integrate maybe a simpler version of BSF to those waiting listers, and then as they come through, give people who are at the bottom of each division or each conference the option to go down, and then those to come up, and have some chopping and changing about. Just an idea.
It's an interesting one. If I could by the way, because of course Andy and Lewis, welcome guys. You've met with the learning cliff that is the QST system and everything like that, and you've been fabulous all year. So Andy, that kind of element was very much a G3 thing. They did try as well a sort of sandbox element, but I don't believe historically actually created movement through that they wanted. I'm interested in in making sure that people aren't waiting around for forever. So if we are, if we've had still no movement on the wait list, great, because I'd rather everyone is still here and I'm not needing to replace anyone. But it's always something that I will consider shifting ahead. We will have a look and we will have a think about how we could expand. But I will state I've got no appetite for a college element, and equally there are some people I think here who prefer the college game and actually would want to almost take a step backwards perhaps and go and play a college version rather than a pro version. So it's a sort of a Pandora's box, but I'm not against it. As you know, this is very much something I'm always open to discussion and suggestions. So no plans currently, and certainly I wouldn't say over the next couple of seasons. I'm expecting, do people start to go, once the initial enthusiasm, if it wears off, when it wears off, do we need to start filling some gaps in a couple of seasons' time? And I suppose that's when you'd be asking or answering that question, wouldn't we? But it's a good
Phil,
question.
Phil, one quick question on that.
Yeah.
When I joined up in G3, the season that I joined up, there was like a foundation league.
Yeah.
So you or certain groups are like 16 teams or whatever. You came in, you actually got a feel for the game. Like, you're doing like a dummy season only against other coaches. So you actually were learning the game before you actually came in. So then when I did join the full game, I knew what I was doing already. So it helped.
And you felt that did help. You felt that was something that helped.
It did to me, yeah, because I understood the basics before I'd even started to play against people that had obviously been in the game a lot longer than I had.
Yeah, I mean, I think, am I right, Graham? That's the one where there was the very controversial serial killer named team. It was, I think there was the Yorkshire Rippers.
Oh, yes.
Like that. And they were all named up. Yes, if I recall. So, not yours, by the way. It wasn't yours.
No.
I think
I'm not that clever.
So, again, not against it. I think it's a case of how do the numbers shake up in a couple of seasons' time. But, not against it.
That's got to dictate everything, hasn't it? So,
yeah. Absolutely right. Equally, we've had one person go, oh, well, if it's going to be even longer wait, I'm not interested anymore. We don't want to start causing that. So it's going to be a bit of a balancing act for me to decide upon. Yeah, I will stress. I think, Andy said in the chat, you only use college because of the Big Ten element, the sort of side group, the feeder element. But just so everyone's clear, there's no plans for a college element. Good stuff. Anybody else?
Phil, can I make a comment?
Yes.
I think we're still in early days of, we all think because we did G3 that we understand how the game works. I don't quite see it that way. I see it as a new game with nuances from G3, even if it's some of the formulas. And I'm coming at it with, we're still early days in understanding how things will grow and build. We haven't even had an aging yet, so to go to something else is a bit early, right? We need there's still a lot of proving to be done in terms of the real world and also hitting it with our different views.
I mean, we need to see where levels go, see where those elements go, and everything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you need to understand how you would then look to. If there's any tweaking that needs to be done in terms of numbers and gameplay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because obviously you don't want to be, I know one of you is not to have the powerhouse players of G3, right? Or maybe we are, maybe we'll end up that same way.
We may, it's going to have to be it's something you can try and predict with mathematical modeling. And it's certainly an element I put in before we started, but things will need adjustments and things will need looking at carefully. Or we just get somebody with a big old hammer and aging gets really harsh, but then everyone quits because they're cross. So we don't want that either.
Well, we don't know what aging looks like. We see all the bits, but we don't know what it means because with so many youngsters and stuff, an E means it just doesn't get any pluses. That's all. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, equally, do have a look because I've built in, if people haven't seen it, I've built in my favorite spreadsheet, which was the pre-aging spreadsheet. I've built that into your pre-aging reports. So if you haven't seen that, do have a look because I think that might maybe answer, or we might just answer even more, ask even more questions, to be honest, but we'll see. Brilliant stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Obviously, we need to know about the plane is the most important thing, because I don't know, that's not you, Phil.
Sorry, James, go higher, go again.
About the plane. I mean, I'm invested in the plane story earlier on the group chat.
We will come back to the plane story in a bit when I stop recording, so he doesn't get in trouble with work. Andy, you've got a hand up. Go for it.
Yeah, just a thing for staffing. I was just having a look because I couldn't remember the specific wording. Obviously, the development assistant is still not a thing. Is that going to happen in season 2 at some point? Is it a work in progress? What can
I'm
we expect
hoping
there?
to have that before season 2. Equally, it's ready to go. I just haven't done it yet. When we do the aging rollover, there'll be a schedule of when new staff will be released into the ecosystem, as it were. They're not all going to appear at season start. They're going to be gradually released over time as well, and you'll start to see that coming. But yeah, I'm hoping to get development season in place for season 2.
Is that like presumably the developing assistant will be something that you would perhaps use with the P&D squad rather than the main squad then? Because
they'll
obviously
have a
that's
bit of
kind
an
of in the
impact on
title
the
as well.
P&D squad, but in general, they help prevent slightly more against negative aging for your younger players.
Right. Okay.
But again, I'll make sure that's all black and white. Don't worry. Well, as black and white as I can make it. Good question. Anybody else? I mean, we're coming up to past, so we potentially have one more if there is anything else, but otherwise, I think we'll shift on. So, the draft season 2, here we go. I would suggest, just for your own record keeping, if you haven't downloaded your shortlist, do so. Players are going to disappear from it as we pick. So if you want your records, if you want your info there, that's fine. We are going to cover rounds 1 to 3 today. We're going to see how that goes. We've not done a big amount of rounds like that live before. We'll see how we go with that one. There's going to be no timer on the clock, but I will ask that people are as polite as possible about it. I did debate putting a timer on just for James's picks, but ran out of time to put that one in place. So we'll just be as good as we can about that. If we've got any unclear orders, I think there's one team I'm a little concerned about order-wise. We'll just work as a unit and come up with something. Don't forget, you can rename your players after drafting. I'm aware the naming situation could be slightly controversial, and that we're used to them just with codes and then we name them, but you can rename them. If you've never renamed any of your players, they are still renameable. You can go and do it. Everybody gets one.
Even the original ones, Phil?
Yep. Everybody gets a rename, so you are welcome still to do that customization. Yeah.
Well, it's time to get me little notebook out again from the G3 days.
Absolutely right. Yeah, a lot of mine are. And I can't wait to have Galloway and Pogue next year. Sorry, I can watch Chris Wicks just twitch in the corner.
Oh, great.
Yeah, Galloway and Pogue. But yeah,
okay, it'd be the Sweeney and the Fast show for me. So yeah, carry on.
Excellent. But yeah, you can absolutely rename. What that will do, it won't rename them in past game results because that's a static file, but everything else it will rename them in. So, it's there. And as we say, as two very wise men once said, always try to pick the best players. That is the number one tip. Right. Chris, can you explain the plane situation whilst I quickly get the draft screen up and running? Because James is going to kill us otherwise.
Can I ask a quick question before the plane?
Yes.
Although I feel like the plane's more important. So I've got a shortlist. It won't automatically pick from the shortlist. No. Okay. So like Mark Rousel, who he has got a shortlist, you'll be able to kind of manually pick from his shortlist.
Yeah.
That's the difference in it. Because there's no like there was that box before in G3 which you ticked, which if you didn't, you then couldn't untick, and there's nothing like that. So,
nothing like that. So give me 2 seconds and I'll show you. And I can see Randy. That's a great question. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to stop recording as well. So if you have been catching up with this on YouTube because you couldn't join us, hopefully it was useful to you. Give me a shout if you need anything.